Hey guys, how's life? What have you been up to? I've not been up to much, to be honest. Just, staying at home, doing the usual stuff around the house. Um, in the last class, we did Unit 8. We finished Unit 8 completely. And I gave you guys some homework. And what we're going to do today is we're going to start Unit 9, okay? So, can you guys please open your books to page 91? And here at the top, you can see some different pictures. I think you can see 4 pictures, and these are all different jobs, okay? So what jobs do you think all 4 of these things are? So the first one is obviously a pilot. What about her? Do you think she could be a nurse? I think she's a nurse. What about this person? What do you think? I think he's probably an architect. What about this lady? She's probably a news anchor or a TV presenter. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today, obviously the topic is psychology and employment. We're going to talk about different jobs and what people need to have personally to be able to fulfill the criteria of certain jobs. So the criteria that certain jobs ask for when you apply to them is called selection criteria. So, for example, I work as an English teacher at an English school, okay? And what is the selection criteria for somebody to become a teacher there? You need to be either a native speaker of English or have a really good level of English, probably C2. You need to have preferably a university degree. You have to have had some experience, and you have to have a teaching certificate as well. That's the one. So these are this is the selection criteria to become a teacher at an English school, for example, in Lugo. But different jobs have different selection criteria, okay? I don't know why I just said criteria. Sorry, I meant criteria. Every time I do these videos, I'm really distracted because everyone's just going crazy in my house. So please, I'm just trying to be the most concentrated that I can. So please bear with me and be patient, okay? So for a pilot, what do you think the selection criteria is for a pilot? Can you guys in your notebook write down maybe 4 or 5 different qualities or titles or types of experience that a pilot must have, a person must have before they can become a pilot? What about a nurse? What do you think the selection criteria would be for becoming a nurse? What about an architect? What about a TV news anchor or a TV presenter? Could you guys write 4 or 5 for each job? And then we'll go over them together. So pause the video now, write 4 or 5 for each job, and then we'll do it together. Okay? So I'm just assuming that you have finished now, and we're going to go over them together. So for example, to be an airline pilot, I don't know what you have. You can show me in your homework. I'm just going to tell you some ideas that I had and also that were in the book. So you need to have technical ability, health, so particularly eyesight and coordination is probably pretty important. Leadership skills, decision making, and be able to perform well under pressure is really important. What about a nurse? Probably you need to have medical knowledge. That would be a benefit. You would need to have teamwork skills, be able to perform well under pressure as well, and have interpersonal skills, so know how to relate to people, and also probably the ability to calm people down, like maybe a calm personality. For the TV news anchor or news reader, you can say as well, you need to have good speech, I guess. Like you speak really clearly and correctly. You need to have probably time management skills as well, because you need to get your story across and say everything that's happening, but it needs to be in a coherent and concise way. maybe flexibility as well, because sometimes if you're doing something live, there can be an interference because you can't really predict what happens. So maybe you need to have adaptability, flexibility, and probably some knowledge of current affairs or things that are currently happening in the world right now. And for an architect, um, maybe creativity, well, maybe definitely creativity, team working skills, project management abilities, things like this, okay? So if you have any other ideas that are different from mine, it doesn't mean they're wrong, just we have different ideas. So let me know what your ideas are, okay? So you've seen 4 jobs here. What do you think could be the challenges of each job? Could you write that in your notebook as well and tell me what you think the challenges could be for each of these 4 jobs, okay? So what we're going to do now is have a look at page 91. We already did number 1, and you're going to send that to me in your homework. Number 2 says, people can be divided into 2 categories, divergent thinkers and convergent thinkers. Which of these descriptions do you think matches these 2 terms? So a divergent thinker would probably be somebody that, let me see if this is right, somebody that kind of walks to the beat of their own drum. They have an idea and they just run with it and they go in the opposite direction to everybody else. And a convergent thinker might be someone who tries to think more on the same line as everybody else. So let's have a look at the 2 definitions and see if we can match them. So A says, they work towards something finite and need specific instructions before they do something. They are logical and systematic. So this is going to be convergent thinkers. And B says they are creative, extroverted, and intuitive. They are not particularly systematic or dependable. So that's going to be divergent thinkers. Do you guys think that you are a convergent thinker or a divergent thinker? Or maybe a mix of both. I'm sure that nobody's exactly only one. So tell me what you think you are and why. Okay. What about these different jobs? Do you think that pilots need to be convergent thinkers or divergent thinkers? What about nurses, architects, and news readers or news anchors? Let me know. Have a look at number 4. Try this test and find out if you were right about the kind of thinker that you are. This will be fun. Look at the shapes below and choose which one appeals to you most, then decide which one would be your second choice. So please let me know because this is so much fun. I love tests. I'm going to tell you mine. I think that the one that appeals to me most, strangely, is the triangle. I don't know why. I just really like that shape. And the second one would probably be the circle. I don't know. This one really stresses me out. I don't know why. And these ones just are really boring to me. Sorry if you chose that, but for me, I don't like it. We all have different opinions, and that's fine. So we decided, I'm sure you're deciding at the moment as you watch this. So mine were triangle and circle as a second choice. So which of these descriptions do you think might apply to people who have a preference for one of the shapes in number 4? Match the descriptions to the shapes. So what I'd like you guys to do is read these 5 descriptions, match them to the correct shapes, and then we'll do it together. So pause the video now and do number 5. All right, so, okay, this is interesting. All right, so let's see. The square shape is letter D. Conservative and happy when things are regular and orderly. Okay, that was probably to be expected. What about the rectangle is B. Logical and systematic, but possibly lacking creativity. Ooh, rectangle is bad. Hope you didn't choose rectangle. What about the triangle is E. Goal-oriented, logical and systematic, and fond of planning and succeeding. Okay, I don't know if this test is right, actually. That doesn't sound like me at all. What about the circle? Is C. Sociable and good with people, extrovert and intuitive, but against rigid plans and systems. Totally the opposite. All right. And this is called a squiggle, apparently. So the squiggle is letter A. Individual and creative, but not particularly systematic or dependable. Let me know what you are, and we can compare our answers. Okay, so what we're going to do now is have a look at number 7. Which of the descriptions do you think did you think might apply to the people in the pictures above? Okay, which descriptions and which shapes do you think that these different people are? And lastly, you have 2 questions in number 8 that I want you to put in your notebook and I want you to send them to me. So, do you agree or disagree that our personality remains the same for life? And which do you think affects our personality more? Genetic makeup, which is our genes, or our experiences and environment? This question is kind of similar to one that we did before about criminals. Do you think it's all about genes, or do you think it can be our environment that affects us, like the nature versus nurture argument? Okay, so once you've done this is just what I want you to send to me for homework. Okay, so it's not too much. Then when you're done, go to page 92, just the next one, all right? And on page 92, we're going to do 1, 2, and 3. So we're not going to do this bottom part because we're going to do that in the next class on Wednesday. So look at the reading and use of English, part 3. It says, read these headlines and decide what you think the newspaper articles would be about. So first one is unfair dismissal laws spur claims. The next one, computer sacks star employee over quiz failure. And the last one, overlooked executive gets compensation. So what do you think that these could be about? Okay, can you pause the video and you have a think about what you think they're going to be about? And after you pause the video, I can tell you what my ideas are and what our teacher book says. Okay, so pause the video, and then when you come back, we'll do number 1. So now that you've paused the video, we're going to come back and do number 1. So for example, unfair dismissal laws spur claims. Spur can kind of be like provoke or create something like problems usually. Okay, so maybe unfair dismissal laws spur claims could be about new laws relating to a dismissal procedure that have generated an increase in claims from people who feel they've been unfairly dismissed. So, okay, dismissed is like fired. Okay, it's a nice way to say fired. Dismissal is the act of firing someone. So maybe there are unfair dismissal laws that could be like maybe you're in your first week of work, you make a mistake and you're gone. Okay, and the law says for that particular company that any mistakes are, let me think, that the policies of that job are under the discretion of the boss. So if you make a mistake, it's up to the boss if he wants to fire you or not. You're not really protected. So this would be an unfair dismissal law. Whereas, like, I think a lot of the time in Spain, you have, how much do you have? You have a period, like a trial period, where you can, it's like normal to make mistakes and you just kind of can try out the job. Both of you can see how it goes. And that, I think, is probably a fair dismissal law or a fair law to help you not get dismissed unfairly. Okay. What about computer sacks star employee over quiz failure? So this could probably be like the best, star employee. The best employee gets sacked or gets fired. It's another word for fired. Probably unfairly for failing some kind of test. Sorry, I have really bad allergies. Okay, I'm not ill. So over failing some type of quiz. Okay, and the last one, overlooked executive gets compensation. So an overlooked executive means that nobody really recognizes his or her achievements, and they get compensation after complaining about it, probably. Okay, maybe the overlooked executive is somebody who has done a really good job. But they've not gotten promoted, and they should have. Okay. So what we're going to do now is I'd like you to have a look at the text below. So the text below here, this one, you need to read this text, but ignore the gaps and the words in capitals. So don't do the exercise. Just read the text. And find out what happened to Mr. Filer. Which of these headlines in number 1 would be the most suitable for the article? So can you please pause the video now? And can you just read the text and decide which of these three headlines is the best one for the text, okay? So I've assumed that you have unpaused the video now, and we're going to do this together. So let's see. Okay, which one did you guys choose for the best headline for the text? I don't know what you guys think, but the one that the book says is the computer sacked star employee over quiz failure. Sorry, I'm really struggling today, guys. I've got really bad allergies. Please bear with me. Computer sacked star employee over quiz failure. That's the best headline for the text. Okay. Again, we're not going to do this part. Okay. I just want you guys to have a read of the text. If there are any words you don't understand, please look them up in the dictionary, or if you just really, really don't get it and you want an example that's clearer, well, more clear, I guess, if I can give it to you, email me and I'll try my best, okay? The last thing that we're going to do today is have a look at number 3. You need to use one of the suffixes in list A, like we've done before, to make a noun from each of the verbs in list B, okay? So you have different suffixes. Suffixes go at the end, remember, not at the beginning. That's probably obvious. And B, these are verbs, and you need to make them into nouns. So what I'd like you to do now is pause the video and do that, and then we'll go over that one together. That's not homework, okay? The other things that we did today in the class are homework, and I want you to email them to me, but number 3 is not. And don't do this, because we're going to do it in the next class, okay? So let me get out my notebook, not my notebook, my board, and we're going to do it together. So number 3 says, use one of these suffixes in list A to make a noun from each of the verbs in list B. So modify, how can I do this so you can see? Okay, modify would be, I'm just going to have this open so I don't make any mistakes. Well, let's just go for it. I would say modification. You guys probably have the same answer. Modification. Can you see that? Yeah. Okay, what about develop? Development. Okay. What about assist? Assist. I would say assistant, because if you put assistant, that's the person. Yeah, the book says assistants as well. What about dismiss? It's probably in the article, isn't it? Dismiss. Dismissal. Okay, the act of firing someone. Indicate. Indication. Assail. We've seen this word before. Yeah, I knew it. Assailant. Assailant is, let's see, this is actually the person. This is the person who like conquers something. If there's a big objective to conquer or to get over, the assailant, it's like the person who gets over it. Like, you know, we've seen this word before. When we were talking about Game of Thrones, they had to assail the big castle to get over it or conquer it. So assailant would be the person. Okay, the next one is employ. So you could say employment. I mean, there are many options for nouns because you could have people as well, but employee could be one, employment as well. Announcement. Legislate, legislation. Sorry, I'm just legislation. I'm just writing and you probably can't see that at all. Okay, now you can. Preside. Yes, presidency. Like that. The next one is procedure. Okay. The next one is nomination. Obviously, as I said before, there are others. You could have nominee, things like that. Whatever. It can be the person or it can be the normal noun. Gratify, gratification. Okay. Reiterate, which is like to repeat, reiteration. I'm gonna have to do it like this. Reiteration. Have a look, guys, in the dictionary as well for more options. I'm just giving you a couple. Resemble, like look, to look like. Resemblance is an option. Embarrass, embarrassment. Those are two S's. I just wrote them very close together. And the last one, renew, renewal. To renew something, that's an E. Renewal, W. Okay, so you have other options as well, obviously. Have a look in the dictionary or ask me if you don't know. But yeah, that's all for today. And in the class on Wednesday, we'll keep going with this page and go on to the second page, okay? All right, guys. Well, I hope you're doing well. And yeah, I hope you have a good week, and we'll see each other again on Wednesday. Bye.